Good morning, guys. Welcome to another episode of XahTalk Show. Today is 2020, June 3rd, Wednesday, 9 o'clock in the afternoon, San Francisco time. So what is today's topic? Post your questions, okay? If you have a question to me, instead of a topic, not topic suggestion, just post whatever you want to ask me, something you want to ask me, then post it. Don't give me suggestions about topic, okay? So 2020, June 3rd, time passed fast, so let's see what's going on. So what is today's topic? Because if there's no topic and I'm going to just do random, and usually if I do random, the easiest one is I'm just going to work on my website. So it's gonna be something like Emacs demo because that's the easiest topic comes to mind. I just Emacs demo or Vim Golf, the idiotic Vim Golf. So okay, so let's read the questions. Okay. Good morning, Reaper. I saw your name first. Hello, Team Xah. Good morning, George to Australia, Reaper in United States of America. Stoker Quo, I don't know where you're from. Chinese, China. Tell us about the riots. Okay, that's a big one. The riots. Okay, let me talk about that a little bit. Then it may be a long rant, but I try not to. I don't feel like doing a political topic because that's controversial. Then so there's all these riots going on, and political issues, and you have to see the video footage by common people. You can easily see that on Twitter as they happen. People are burning buildings and looting stores. They just break the window and looting stores, and the Black Lives Matters group, but also Antifa, and is fairly complex. Okay, I don't like it. Of course, nobody likes it. But today, so what I want to say, my opinion about that is that. Hold on a second. So do you hear a electric hum? How do I fix that? How do I fix the electric hum? Do anyone knows about that? I noticed that there's a Wikipedia about that electric hum, but it's quite detailed. Takes an hour to read it. So anyway, the riots, because if you don't know, because a cop accidentally killed a black man. They are very angry. People are very angry now. So if I do not agree, if I say an opinion that is what is, they are angry, it's not what they think, I'm going to have problems. They are going to start to, look me up or beat me, something like that. So it's a troubled time, when that happens, in chaos, when the situation is not stable, you cannot reason. You say something you think it's reasonable, but you got beaten up. So this cop, the white cop, he technically, I think it's, in my opinion, it's accurate to say accidentally killed a black man. But of course, all these angry people, they don't, they would say the cops murdered the black man or things like that. In fact, I think it's being accused. I mean, in there, the cop is being arrested and in jail now, and they are accusing him of murder. I'm going to say my opinion. I don't think it's I think it's actually accurate to say accidental kill, in a abusive way, because I saw the video. I watched the video. The black guy is already under control, and it's not a violent thug. The black guy, he doesn't have guns or anything like that. He's totally under control, and there are bystanders bystanders saying that, let him breathe. He's saying, I cannot breathe. So the cop is essentially abusing his power. However, I wouldn't say it's intentional murder, or like some of these Black Lives Matters activists say. Because when you are a cop, these violent thugs, they sometimes they have guns, all things happen. They can, if I'm a gangster, the cop has me down, but I can pretend to say, oh, I cannot breathe. Then suddenly I pick up my gun or something and shoot the cop. So that happens. That happens. But overall, I want to say, the cop abused his power. And on that scene, there are several cops. There's another cop, trying to fend off the bystanders. And I think he's unfortunate, because now he didn't do anything to the black guy, but now he's part of this associated with murder. So that's unfortunate. You look at this situation, you think if you are the other cop, what you gonna do? Are you going to support the bystander, the crowd? No, obviously not. Because you have to help your co-workers. Anyway, I'm not sure what I want to say about that. So, and also this situation now, this riot all over, it's highly political, because the America is, America, the white countries, in my opinion, is falling apart, because partly because the corruption. I don't like the Democratic today. They are doing fake news all over, and anything Trump says, they do fake news. That's my opinion. So it's a controversial topic to talk about. So anyway, let's read. Hold on a second. I got been smoking too much in the past 2 days, so let me cough. Okay, so let's go. Let me read the topics and let's see what we're gonna talk about today. Are we gonna talk about technical or programming or stuff? So George says, have you heard about the pallets of bricks being left everywhere for protesters to use? Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed, because so there is this Antifa group who wants to overthrow the U.S. government, basically. And they are, it's been going on since the past 3-4 years. But you see, all the mainstream media, they don't cover it much, or they spin. They are basically pro the Antifa. They are sponsored by the left-wing politicians, high-ups. For example, all the tech corporation, tech head, white people. So they do fake news. They for example, Firefox actually donated to Antifa, and all the news media report fake news. They say the Antifa is there to fight the white supremacist. Okay, that's not what I see. From what I see in the past, let's say at least 5 years, in the past 5 years, the white supremacist essentially almost doesn't exist. Okay, they are essentially nowhere. They doesn't exist. They have no power. Meanwhile, the left people, the social justice people, so to speak, they are the most powerful. They are all the media corporations, all the tech corporations, Google, Apple, Facebook, Twitter, and so on. And most programmers in the Silicon Valley, in California, we are very democratic people. So very powerful. And the thing is, you want to fight power, and they lie. They lie. All these super elite and Hollywood superstars, they are so rich, and they are sponsoring this terrorist group, including Apple, Google. They all did that in one way or another, and they are spinning. They are putting out this fake news, this fake story about how the rise of white supremacists. Therefore, we need to take it down. And create anger. A whole bunch of anger. But that's not what I see. From what I see, the white supremacist people, they almost essentially doesn't exist. There are a few, like the twin teenager girls, blue. What's the name? They here and there, and because I'm looking because I have been paying attention to these kind of things. White supremacists. They are essentially, they have no power. They didn't, it didn't exist. But however, the left wing people, the politicians, the elite, they push fake news so much. That's how President Trump got elected. Okay. And on Twitter, all these, the Black Lives Matters and all these groups, they, fake news, they lie all the time. And so in my view, I started to see the right wingers, the God believers, the right wingers, the conservatives. They used to have power, a lot of power. They rule America, in 2000s. George W. Bush, which is a scumbag, but they fell out of power. But anyway, so the left politicians, they rule, and the elite people. So this, I started to see in the past 3 years the smaller right wing people start to resist, and they start to come up. So that's what I see. Totally different from the mainstream media. So okay, so let me read the comments. Okay, George, hello team. George called Legos. Show your photos from Las Vegas. My photos from Las Vegas, I talked about that in 2 of my videos, I believe. At least one of them. There's a YouTube, search for XahTV Las Vegas. You'll find it. Fredo, ultrafinitism in math. Now, what is ultrafinitism? I don't know what that is. Ultrafinitism. Oh, there it is, Wikipedia. Let's see what it says. In philosophy of math, ultrafinitism, also known as ultra-intuitionism, strict formalism, strict finitism, actualism, predicativism, and strong finitism, is a form of finitism. Okay, fucking Wikipedia in this academic way of talking. Now, what is a form of finitism? Now, I can tell you the finitism, or whatever, this ultra-finitism, it's kind of new concept. Okay, let's say it doesn't exist before year 2000s, or it exists as a small niche, nobody knows. Because in philosophy of math, this is new. So I have to read about what is finitism. That's how you read Wikipedia. You link after link after link. So anyway, ultrafinitism is a philosophy of math, is a form of finitism. Okay, we're gonna read about that. And it says there are various philosophies of math that are called ultrafinitism. A major identifying property common among most of these philosophies is their objections to totality of number of theoretic functions, like exponentiation over natural numbers. Okay, so a major identifying property common among these ultrafinitism is their objection to totality of number of theoretical mathematical functions. Objection to totality of number. Okay. Okay, it's a bit complicated. There are objections to totality of number of theoretic functions. Okay, totality is a property, it's a class of functions, and they are objecting to totality of number theoretic functions. Okay, I don't know what that is. Let's read about finitism. Finitism is a philosophy of math that accepts the existence only of finite mathematical objects. It is best understood in comparison to the mainstream philosophy of math, where infinite mathematical objects are accepted as legitimate. Okay, so that's finitism. But okay, finitism basically, I can explain what finitism is. Basically, it's this is related to computer proof systems and proof theory using computers. That is, if you want to use computers to do mathematical proofs, the most fitting approach turns out to be one branch of philosophy of math. That is, today you call it finitism. Before let's say before year 2000, it's called intuitionism. Anyway, I talked about this before. Let me give you a summary of my understanding. So let's say before 1990s, the classic philosophy of math, you have essentially three big philosophies of math. One is logicism, logicism. They say that mathematics is nothing but logic. So in their opinion, all mathematics can be reduced to logic, pure logic. And the foundational work is Bertrand Russell and something Whitehead. They wrote Principia Mathematica. They want to reduce entire math into logic. So that's one school of philosophy of math. Then the other one is formalism, as in formality. Formalism, from the main guy, is David Hilbert. He proposes that math is nothing but symbol manipulation. Essentially, you have a bunch of symbols. For example, in high school algebra, you have x squared equals to, let's say, 4. You want to solve for x. You manipulate the symbols, then you get x equals to 2, the principal square root. Or you move, you add a number to both sides, things like that. Manipulation of a sequence of symbols. That is called formalism. And in the formalism school of mathematics, they believe that all this, that's math. Okay, they believe that math is nothing but purely manipulation of formulas. Okay, formulas, and inherently they don't have any meaning. You have to interpret it. So So this is actually an important concept. A pure manipulation of a sequence of symbols according to certain rules. From this idea, that's how we have symbolic pattern matching. For example, in Mathematica, symbolic pattern matching, or you can say lisp macros. Okay, a lot of you lispers, they talk about lisp macros every day. Macros, fuck these lisp idiots. Okay, so lisp macros is a form of symbolic pattern matching. Basically, you have a bunch of rules that says when you have a sequence of symbols, when they have a certain pattern, you replace it with another sequence of symbols. Like if you are a compiler, if you write compilers, parsers, okay, grammar, formal grammar, you know what that means. You have a bunch of rules that tells you patterns of sequence of symbols, they should be replaced to another form. And you have, this is generative linguistics. From this grammar, you have a language, computer programming language. So anyway, pattern matching. Okay, symbolic pattern matching. So formalism school of math says that entire math is simply just manipulation of sequence of symbols. That's formalism. So you have logicism, you have formalism. Then this is classic philosophy of math. Then there's another school called intuitionism. Okay. Keep your comments going. Okay, I'm gonna read them. Am I doing okay? So, logicism, formalism, logicism of Bertrand Russell and Whitehead, formalism of David Hilbert. Then you have intuitionism led by the guy Brewer or something like that, a German guy. And intuitionism, intuitionism is kind of odd, So, I study math. When I read about I understand logicism, very logical. You want to reduce entire math into logic. Like therefore, something. Therefore, this implies that things like that. Or formalism, everything is just formulas, symbol manipulation according to certain rules. Then there's intuitionism. Now, so when I read about that, it's kind of strange, very odd. Okay, intuitionism, they say things like they do not accept infinity. Okay, so in math, it's almost fundamental. You have the concept of infinity, essentially, that's what calculus studies. You have infinity, or you have infinitesimals, which is infinity is infinitely large. Infinitesimal is something so small, smaller than the smallest, infinitely small, but not zero. Okay, that's essentially what calculus is about. Calculus is the formal study of infinity or infinitesimal. Infinity and the infinitesimal is related because they are the inverse of each other. 1 over infinity is infinitesimal. So anyway, so in math, infinity is a very common, and even you could say it's intuitive. So 1, 2, 3, then you have infinity, that's endless. But the intuitionism school of philosophy of math, they say they don't accept that. They say, okay, they don't accept infinity. There's no such thing. Show me. That's their thinking. Show me an infinity. Of course, we cannot show an infinity because that's a conceptual. Therefore, so they don't accept that. And there's another thing standing out from the intuitionist school of thought. That is, they don't accept what's the name? Divided middle. There's a name. Let's look up intuitionism. Okay. INTUI, intuition. Okay, there it is. So there are two things standing out about this intuitionism school of philosophy of math. One is that they don't accept infinity. The other one is that they don't accept the excluded middle. Okay, let me explain what that is. Then we're gonna read it. So excluded middle in logic, in logic usually you have a situation that's either A or B. For example, is this color white? It's either white or it's not white. There's no in between. Am I a human? Yes or no. There's no in between. But I'm kind of simplifying the details, and I don't know the details myself, so I'm not a professional logician. I'm not qualified to talk about this. But however, I can give you a simple idea. So you go study it. Okay. So the intuitionism school of math, they don't accept infinity. They don't accept excluded middle. Like for example, whether either this is a pen or it's not a pen. So in traditional math you can prove. So if you can prove that it is not a pen, then you say you have proven that this is actually a pen, because you have proven it's not a pen, therefore it's a pen. But the intuitionists, they don't accept that. Okay, they don't accept that. They say that if you want to prove this is a pen, you have to construct it. You have to show an actual example, like show an actual example, something like that. So when I read about the intuition, I'm not doing a very good explanation because it's quite complicated. Okay, this kind of things you have to study for years. Okay, to really understand what's going on. So when I studied math, I read about intuitionism. I don't get it. They're like, these people are crazy. Okay, these people, they don't accept infinity, then they don't accept the excluded middle. What the fuck? So I don't like this intuitionism. Now here's an interesting thing. Now you see Haskell. Now it's been 40 years, 50 years, people's trying to do automated theorem prover. I talked about this in my past videos. Basically, since we have computers, we want to do AI, lisp, AI, artificial intelligence, and so on. And one of the big thing is we want to have a automated theorem prover. So you don't need Einstein to have a theory of relativity. You don't need that, because since we have computers, why don't we automate it? The computer will just churn out theories, new theories for us. So people, in order to do that, that goes into the heart of mathematics, the essence. In fact, the mathematics is the essence of all, physics, all the sciences, and even philosophy and logic. You dive into the deepest heart of mathematics. And one concrete example that requires that is to create a automated theorem prover, because now you are dealing with the essence. If you can create automatic theorem prover, then it answers almost everything. What's the meaning in life? Just let the computer tell you. The computer will, it's automatic theorem prover. It'll tell you what life means. So mathematicians and logicians, and computer scientists, most started to study automated theorem prover, and it's extremely hard. They find out they cannot do it. But but however, by now, especially there's a giant, we have a lot of understanding. We try to do it just like AI. We, after decade, we find out what's wrong. We have progress. But in theorem proving systems, we also learned a whole bunch of things. We developed many branches of computer math, computer algebra systems, and so on, that can do integrals and derivatives and differential equations, or solving matrix equations, and so on. So we made a huge progress in practical. For practical needs such as computational number crunching, like Fortran, or you want to calculate the ballistic missiles, the path of missile, or going to the moon, practical things, to or computer algebra systems, solving equations, or theoretical. We made a lot of progress in theoretical. Hold on a second. A lot of progress in theoretical proof theory systems too. Okay, but then I don't know if I'm talking too slow and or something, but let me get to the point. Okay, so much messages has been piled up. Let me get back to where we began. So, school of math, classic schools in philosophy of math, logicism by Bertrand Russell, that all math can be reduced to math. Math is simply logic. Okay, that's logicism. Formalism led by David Hilbert, which says mathematics is nothing but symbol manipulation, okay, formulas. It doesn't have any meaning. It's just rules for manipulating symbols. If you have different rules, you have a different math system, okay, rule manipulation. Then the other school is intuitionism, okay. They say, which I didn't understand before, but they say they don't accept infinity and they don't accept excluded middle in some detailed part of logic, okay. And this, okay, so but now we have made so much progress in the past 20 years, especially in the past 20 years, because computer power. We understand a lot more about the theories of proof systems and theories. For example, we started to have homotopy type theory. There's a book. And we have cock. We have a lot programs that. Okay, hold on a second. So homotopy type theory, I want to learn it. Okay, I talked about this last year. Hopefully I can learn this subject matter before I'm dead, for good. Homotopy type theory, which is a new foundation of math. Okay, there's a free book. So this is a new foundation of math that's designed for computational proof systems. That is, using computers to do math proofs. It takes us tremendous time, and the genius, this guy is a genius, okay. He died 2 years ago. You can read on my website. He essentially created a brand new branch of math to do proofs by computer. Brand new, because before we have a lot, logicians, we all try to do this, and we run into all sorts of problems. But eventually, we have today. This is a new thing, homotopy type theory, which is related to some. Then we have category theory, which is different thing. Okay, I don't like category theory, and I talked about this many times. I don't like category theory, and the Haskell fucking idiots. Fad, the Haskell people, monad, fucking idiots. They tell you, oh, monad every day. Oh, category theory, you need to learn. No, you don't need to learn category theory. It's a shit. I talked about this many times. If you want to learn real stuff, advanced and practical, try to learn homotopy type theory. Okay. Anyway. So let me get back to intuitionism. My understanding of so three school of math. So what about this is a very interesting thing. Since we started to do computer proof systems, then we realized, here's a interesting story that had a major impact on me. We realized that intuitionism is actually the philosophy for computer mathematics. That is, using computer to prove math. Because when you use computer to prove math, you want to throw away you want to throw away the infinity, and you also want to throw away the excluded middle. The either this or yes. Something is either yes or no. That's instead you want to construct it. Okay, you want to actually construct the example. So intuitionism. After a while, this is back in 1900s or early 1800s. But anyway, then you have constructionism. Then you have let's see. There, mathematical constructivism. So intuitionism became somewhat, or a branch became constructivism. That is, when you use especially suitable for computers, like you want to actually construct things, then I suppose it become today's finitism. Uh, we refine and refine it. Then we have finitism. Then I suppose you have ultrafinitism. So let's read about finitism a little bit. Let's read intuitionism. Okay, so you get a more accurate understanding what it is. So in the philosophy of math, intuitionism or neo-intuitionism is an approach where math is considered to be purely the result of the constructive mental activity of humans rather than the discovery of fundamental principles claimed to exist in an objective reality. Okay, that is, logic and mathematics are not considered analytic activities wherein deep properties of objective reality are revealed and applied, but are instead considered the application of internally consistent methods used to realize more complex mental construct, regardless of their possible independence existence in an objective reality. Okay, that's a lot, too many words. Okay, that's too many words, and you have to realize intuitionism. This is back in 1800s. Let's see, yeah, 1800s. You have to read. So back in 1800s, we don't have computers, so much of that, this classic philosophy of math, much of their content, what they talk about is related more to the domain of philosophy. So they are talking about philosophy as opposed to something concrete and actual that you can do something with. So intuitionism origin, is about philosophy, about what, the question of what math really is. So intuitionism, they focus on construction. Then you have constructivism. Okay, so in philosophy of math, constructivism asserts that it is necessary to find a math object to prove that it exists. Okay, so this is more or less a branch of intuitionism. Okay, so let me then I suppose you have finitism and ultrafinitism. I suppose ultrafinitism is, let's see, the main idea. Like under finitist, ultrafinitists deny the existence of the infinite set of natural numbers. In addition, some ultrafinitists are concerned with acceptance of objects in math that no one can construct in practice because of physical restrictions, and so on. So we have covered, what layman, I'm giving you a layman's understanding, kind of what these philosophy of math are. But you have to remember that's just layman's approach. I don't know these subjects well. I hope to study a homotopy type theory one day. So what I mean is that if you really want to understand this in detail, you have to dive into them. Spend a year or two to actually study them an hour a day every day. Because when I say, for example, when you read about excluded middle of the intuition, there are so many fine details. Like you cannot understand it by just listening to one YouTube explanation. So that's about that. Raven paradox. Okay, free though. Okay, so that's about that. How long have I been talking? It's getting very hot in California. I've been talking for 44 minutes. So Senze, good morning. So some of you might already left. How to recognize propaganda? Someone was asking that the other day. Okay, how do you recognize propaganda? Okay, that's not hard to do. But mostly it takes some experience, proportional so proportional to your knowledge. The more you know about things, general things, the more you can easily recognize. But anyway, propaganda has certain traits. I think it's fairly easy to recognize propaganda. Okay, first of all, so let me just tell you off the top of my head what I think. Of course, you can go read Wikipedia. I'm pretty sure they will give you characteristics of propaganda. But anyway, it's something that basically propaganda is created to so that it make believe. They say something that they tickle emotion. Okay, and by a short passage or a picture, they tickles emotion. They make you want to believe, or they make a lot of people want to believe. That's basically propaganda. Propaganda by definition is some information that is intentionally, purposefully designed to spread certain idea that is for political purposes, and that is in generally false. Okay, fake news. That's what propaganda is by definition. Intentional spread of false or misleading information. Remember, the key here is intentional. So someone, some party, some group created it. Okay, if it's misinformation that arose naturally, that's not called propaganda. Propaganda is some group intentionally created for the explicit purpose of misleading the public or particular target audience. And usually the techniques used in propaganda is emotion and ignorance. Okay, ignorance is a big part of it, and that's easy to do because majority of people, including me, vast majority of people don't know vast majority of things in the world. For example, I know about programming. Okay, I know nothing about law, like a typical nerd. Okay, I don't know that much about history. Okay, but compared to vast majority of other programmers, I know a lot about history and propaganda and this kind of thing. Anyway, my point is, each human animals in this world, basically you can, practically speaking, knows nothing about nothing. Okay, we are touching up on infinity and infinitesimal. So realistically speaking, each human animal on this earth knows nothing, including me. Okay, so propaganda is relatively easy. You could just say something, and because racial bias, racist, racial is very natural. We have human bias in our brain. That's how we can survive, and we propagate. We become the most dominant animal on earth. We killed, control, breed other animals. That's what we do. And we have racism. That's why we have different nations fighting each other. We have political groups. For example, the social justice fuckheads. That is my enemy, and I am their enemy. If we don't have these biases, then hey, let's all be peaceful. You no longer hate me for whatever I say. I say you are an idiot, and you love me still. That is a true equality. Okay, that's a true ultimate equality. But if we become that, there will be no more human animals on earth, because you'll just die out. So we exist. We have evolution. That's how we are. So we have these things. So back to the topic. So we have biases built in. Some of us don't believe that. And we have culture. The left, the Democratic Party. These people, they say, oh, multicultural. But what they are doing is they want pure white culture. They want pure white culture plus different skin color and different funny hats and different faces. That's what these social justice people are. Recently we've been talked about what does it mean. Why do you say everything is social justice warrior? I'm using that term because that's the most fitting term. I'm giving you the highest level description in one sentence. What I see, what's going on, what's wrong. Okay. So of course, social happenings, there are very complex reasons for why things are the way they are. And I'm not expert on these things, these social issues, but I would claim, I'm pretty accurate. If you don't agree, chances are you are wrong. At least things happening in America. America is very bad now because the corruption and mostly the fight between the left and right. Whatever you want to name them. Uh, in my style of expression, I'll just say the social justice can versus the conservatives or God believers. They are fighting. They are not being reasonable to each other. And why does this happen? This happened because all the tech corporations, Twitter, Facebook, Google, you know they created social networks. They just want to make money, but as a consequence, I talked about this sometimes. But as a consequence, because they want traffic, they want people, they want traffic. Therefore, they created blinders. They create little, reality holes. So each group only see what they like to see. So it becomes more and more. You perceive the world differently, and because clickbait, all the news websites, New York Times, they want to make money. That's in capitalism in USA, you make money. And in order to do that, you want people to read, go to your website, ads. People don't want to pay. Also because of open source ideology, people don't want to pay. If you start to have a subscription system, nobody, you have much fewer people. So they want more people, so they more and more clickbait. And also Twitter, they want more traffic. They want you to post every day. Just post whatever, post. They like it. They design, they have monitoring systems, analytics, logs. They know what kind of things can encourage more people posting. They want people to just post every day. So you no longer can write something once for all or solid information. Doesn't matter it's good writing or good, you spend days or years research. Once you post on Twitter, after 1 hour or a day, it's gone. Then you have to do it again. That's what Twitter do. So after 10 years of these, we have a major chaos. The tech corporations is responsible for this. It's not like they are evil. They want to see it that way. It's just a consequence because they need more posts. So you have division. The people don't perceive the same reality the same way anymore, and getting very bad, worse and worse over the past 10 years. And then fake news encouraged by Twitter, fake news, they want to make money. Fake news, sensationalism, anger. Anger is the primary element that makes your post go viral. Then you have more and more social justice, things like that. So answer the original question, how do you tell propaganda? Yeah, like I said before, corporations, they are very concerned about this because marketing, propaganda, actually propaganda, psychological warfare, brainwashing, marketing, and memes or something go viral, they are all related. And also persuasion, they are all related. The essence about them is that you want to change other people's opinion. So for example, you want to buy cars, maybe you want to buy Toyota, that's marketing important. How do you convince people to buy your things, your brand, Apple, Apple, whatever. Think different. That's a great marketing, very successful. Think different, guys. Think different. Buy Apple. and propaganda, brainwashing, and cults. Scientology. I was very involved. Kind of not very when I was a teen. So I was very interested in all these. So I know a thing or two about them. So propaganda, yeah. So, how can you tell propaganda? Um, so anyway, so let's see what else. I think I'm going to wrap up. Oh, it's getting so hot here now, summer. The Hello, Lindian. Lindian, where you from? Sandana, Lindian Sandana. Okay, so let's see. So I think that's about it. Anything else? So I've been talking for 55 minutes. So free though. Ask about ultrafinitism. So you know a thing or two about that? Are you like a student, or are you a Vanya? So guys, join Discord, okay? Join XahTV Discord. Vanya says, "Oh, Vanya. So Vanya, are you the Ariran? Are you Ariran or Ariran's friend? Because I got confused. But I think you are not. But so who rules the world today? Oh yeah, you are Ariran. So is it China? Is it USA, or is it old empire, Brits, Japan, or in shadow? Or is it technology companies, food producers, energy producers, or is it one with military might?" I think that question, the obvious answer from these choices is the one with military might. That is, given these choices, easily that one is the answer. The one with the greatest power rules the world. That's the fundamental theory of the universe from ancient times. Whoever got the most muscle power, the brawn, who rules. So today it's basically USA. Because you got more military power, you win. That's still USA. By a bit, by quite far, by a bit of distance. So the second country is whatever. China is certainly climbing up, but as far as military power goes, USA is still the world number one, by quite a distance. So who rules the world? The one with the most military power, yeah. But so your question, if you put that option there, that's the answer. But if we remove that option, then who rules the world? Is it China? Is it old empire? Brits? No. Britain and Japan? No. The old empire, they are old. They are out of the question. Certainly not Brits and not Japan. Technology companies, yeah. Food producers, yeah. Energy producers. Among these three tech companies, okay. It depends on the context, what you're talking about. Because, for example, depending on how you throw the question. For example, tech producers or energy producers, who rules the world? If you can only choose one of them, depends on. Let me ask you back a question. So I would claim tech companies rule because, for example, Google is the most, it's the most powerful organization in the entire human history. That's probably true. Even more powerful than U.S. government. Okay, so again, it depends on your question. So is U.S. government more powerful or Google? That's the question. It depends. How you judge. They are actually tied. They are intertwined together. Google and U.S. government, they are intertwined, inseparable even, because first of all, you need U.S. government, the infrastructure, the system, in order to have Google, and Google is actually part of. Google is U.S. citizens mostly, intertwined. It's not separate entities in many aspects. So So Google is a tech company plus Facebook, Twitter, and lots of entire website, entire every time you go to website, that's a tech company, mostly in USA. So if you think about that, that's communication. Every cell phone is tech company. Obviously, tech company is more important, more powerful than food producers. Then, but you might say, oh, but food is actually more elementary. Yeah, that's true. But the tech company can just pay you. You are food company. I own you. You make food. you know. So okay. So do you allow this exchange of trade between tech companies? Do you allow that? This kind of silly to compare whether tech company is more powerful or the food company, right? That depends on food producers or any energy producers. That yeah, I think I think that depends on the question. So it depends on what's your context, how are you asking that question. I think. Okay, so good morning, Shiko Siko from Hong Kong. Good morning to Hong Kong rioters. Ripper Grimm says, Law, second time, Epoch Times rose ad before I get to Xah. Yeah, Epoch Times, politics is very complex. Epoch Times is from Falungong. This cult, they teach that you can levitate yourself, if you and they teach you that Western medicine is no good. You should trust the Gong Fu, the Qi, Falun Gong. That's they, and the guy is very rich, multi-million, billion, heir from donation, just like the head from Scientology. They teach you cult. They also Falun Gong also is anti-gay. Okay, and Falun Gong they are and so they've been kicked out of China. Why? Because they are threatening the stability of China, the country. And I can also tell you why. On these things I can tell you a few things. Thank you, Ripper, for $8. Okay, actually, Ripper has a question. So we're gonna answer that question, or we've been already talking for 1 hour. So okay, let's wrap up about Falun Gong and Epoch Times, and let's talk about Marquis. Okay, Marquis. Actually, that will take 1 hour to talk about. Yeah, that, this Marquis, because and actually I've talked about it in two of my videos, 2 or 3. You should watch it if you have not already. Just search for XahTV lisp, XahTV, search YouTube XahTV lisp. You will find quite a few, and 3 of them I would say is fairly good. Okay, relative to all my other videos. So among my videos, 3 those on lisp, it's pretty good. One of us in particular, one of them about symbolic, I think about symbolic pattern matching or something. You'll find it. So probably watch that. Yeah, because that's the essence of macros. You need symbols and transformation of rules. And many people say macros are a big strength of Lisp. They are Lisp phonetics. I don't, the macros in Lisp, in my opinion, is the most useless, one of the most useless fuck as far as computer programming language feature goes. Not the you. Okay, that's clickbait. Okay, it's not true. Okay, but it is not one of the worst. But it's relatively not that useful. Okay, and in fact in Lisp languages you need it, because without Lisp macros you cannot even have if statements. You cannot have if something do this. They rely on macros. Therefore, to Lisp languages, macro is the most important, because without, you cannot even have if expression. And without if expression, your language is like fucked. That's why Lisp macros in Lisp is the most important feature, I would say. But if you compare to other languages where they have if statements but they don't have macros, for example Java or Python, then you don't need macros. Haskell, Java, C, C++, they are doing just fine. Okay, well, C++ you have preprocessors, which is kind of similar. Anyway, so the Lisp macros is cited by Lisp phonetics all the time, but it's compared to other languages, it's not that useful feature. Yeah, you write if statements, you have built-in if statements and others, but it's not that useful. Rather, you want symbolic pattern matching like Mathematica, or rather you want a built-in library for parser. Okay, that is my opinion. Now I want to say I'm not expert on this relatively. Okay, compared to most Lispers, Lisp phonetics who've been coding this for 10 years or 20 years, I know better than them. Okay, idiots. But I'm not a compiler writer. These kind of things you have to have. If you've been writing compilers or parsers for 10 years, then you really understand the full details. Okay, that's about that. Because when Lispers talk about macros, the vast majority of these people, the average programmers, almost everyone, once you in the programming industry, after 10 years, you are an OB. You have opinions about languages, Python, Lisp, Java or whatever, C++. You have opinions. Every fucking Joe have fucking idiotic opinions, and they'll say, "Oh, this macro is this or that." Idiots. But you have to dive into it. Then you have something. Okay, that's about macros. Back to Falun Gong. Okay, the Falun Gong is very powerful. So they've been kicked out of China because they threaten the stability of Chinese government. Why? There's a precedent to it. Okay, I talked about this before too in my video. There's in human history, if you think about the number of people dead, massive killing, or you compare all wars, massive number of deaths. The top five, one of them happened in China. 太平天国. Okay, that's how do you call it in English? I have a lot to say about that. But anyway, it's a quote. Okay, it's a quote by a Chinese guy who believed that he's Jesus' brother, the Christianity. He's the brother of Jesus. He created this cult. And that cult killed 100 million something people. The top five in human history, the massive number of deaths, created a civil war in China. That's a cult. Heavenly kingdom. Okay, look for it. You'll find it. Chinese heavenly kingdom. That's the English name. So resulted in 100 million death or something. So that guy is, he's Jesus. He's brother of Jesus. and in my biased view, we are seeing, the harm of the white people's religion, Christianity, and Scientology too, and Mormons, they are all brothers of Jesus or son of God or things like that. They created cult. So anyway, that's a giant death. So so in Chinese history, this happened in 1800 or something, 1700 or 1800. Look up heavenly kingdom, China. Okay, so then you have Falun Gong. Obviously, you want to stop them. You want to stop. Before you have these millions of in my view, certainly biased Chinese because I'm Chinese blood. So anyway, China, the government kicked out Falun Gong. So the guy escaped to USA. USA democracy says, oh my God, you are a leader, of the rebel. You are anti-Chinese government. Come over, we'll help you. We'll help you fight the evil China. Of course, that's that's what Reaper think. So they come over to try, U.S. embrace all other countries' rebels, to fight the other countries, U.S. enemies. So this guy is very rich, by donation, and he says you can fly, don't trust Western medicine, falungong, and they are sponsored by who pays them? U.S. government, tax dollars sponsored them. But the thing is, in the past 3 years, the falungong becomes far more powerful, and it's very interesting. They become before, they are saying they are anti-China communist government every day. They say, oh, they steal organs, they imprison you and take your organs, sell your organ, things like that. But in the past 3 years, they become a right-wing pro-Trump supporters with their Epoch Times. They spend advertisement on Facebook more than any U.S. politician combined. So they become so extremely powerful. Like all of a sudden I see Epoch Times or everywhere they interview politicians, pro-Trump people, and I was like, what the fuck is going on? Because I hate, I don't like the left, the social justice scan, and I don't like the Falun Gong either because that's garbage. But now the Falun Gong is supporting Trump and fighting the social justice guy. So should I support the Falun Gong? It gets complex. That's politics, because you have different parties. Each one has different goals and interests. Then they are intertwined. And the Hong Kong people, I don't like. Okay, the Hong Kong riots. Oh, speaking of Hong Kong, the Britain, the fucking British Empire. Why is Hong Kong belong to, why does Hong Kong have the right? Because the British fucking, with the white people, British Empire fuckheads, they took Hong Kong by war, the fighting with China. That's my biased, that's from a Chinese person view. So they took Hong Kong. Then they, 100 years, and they return. Oh, by the way, I have a condition. Within 10 years, you cannot do this or that. Fuck. For the white people, the Britain. Yeah, but American, if you are white people, you are American, right? You don't know. You think, oh, Hong Kong is great, democracy, one country, two systems. We should stick to that. No, we don't. We should not stick to that fucking shit in the first place. Your British Empire, you return China, it belongs to China. But I understand, for 10 years or something, from starting in 1997, because things happens, so you return. You don't just take over, and you have to give people, because Hong Kong people they were born in Hong Kong for the past 100 years. They are used to the British rule, right? You don't. So it's reasonable to have a period that for this period of time, 10 years, you Hong Kong people, you stay the way you are used to, right? I understand. But of course, USA, for political reasons, they put millions dollars, billions by now together to the rebels in Hong Kong. They want to make sure so USA can stay in Hong Kong and fight US enemies, control China in essence. That's my opinion. Yeah. The opinions I'm giving here, you might believe it or you may not believe it. You might take it or not. You might agree or you may not agree. But my opinion given here is a very simple, natural analysis from a fundamental human interest point of view. So I'm not, so I would claim that I'm not actually introducing some kind of political bias, even though I admit I'm biased. But you can see the point I want to say is that if you assume there are biases among all human animals, every one of us, okay, if you simply assume that, then you can see my point, okay. Why is Hong Kong in riot? Why is US supported? Of course, because and China is becoming powerful. Hong Kong, and we have two group of people, A and B. They are enemies. They are different race. Okay, and B is becoming powerful. A, of course, naturally want to control it. On the other hand, and vice versa. Throughout history. So obviously, U.S. wants to help Hong Kong riot, saying that it's the right thing to do, and their reason is democracy, whatever that means. Okay, that's about Hong Kong. Okay, so that's actually that's it for today. So let me just finish the comments, and that's it for today. Thank you, Ripper, for the money. I'm going to enjoy a dinner with that money. I'm out of food, you see. I need to go to the store. Okay, I'm gonna finish reading the comments, but essentially we are done. 9 concurrent viewers. How many riots have I seen? Not many. I don't. How many riots have I seen in real life? Riots. I don't think I've even seen one. Oh well, I've seen maybe one or two when I was in. You might say, when I was in 1985, when I was in El Salvador, where they are warring, but I didn't actually see riots, in front of me. Yeah, I don't think I've seen riot. Yeah, I don't join them. I think activists. I despise activists. This is even before 2010, before the rise of social justice. We often see protesters, specifically in America. This is American thing, protest. You have people protest, and it becomes worse since, let's say, 2010. Now this activist, becomes a common daily thing, especially because social networks, Twitter, they have activists. But before, you have protesters like hippies, they protest Vietnam War. But I always despised activists or protest because well, I guess why? Because I cannot say it's good or bad. From the U.S. American tradition perspective, protest is fundamental because American is a country. It so happened, because of human history. American is a country. It so happened that the foundation, the founding principle of America, USA, is focused on democracy and personal freedom. Okay, it so happened, and the religious freedom and free speech gathering, because they let me throw out a controversial point, okay, because they are the traitor of the British Empire. They are going to be beheaded, but they revolted, and successfully. Anyway, so US history, that's of course a bit more complex than that. But anyway, so from US point of view, protest is fundamental. That's in the heart of every American, which is a good thing. And I would also say democracy is a good thing. Okay, but not the way typical American think when it comes to China. Okay, but anyway, democracy is a good system. The way U.S. democracy, I would claim, it's pretty good system. But I would also add it is not the only system. Okay, but it's a pretty good system. It's a system in capitalism. It's a system that made USA so rich and powerful and prosperous. We have cars. Everyone has cars. Well, cars happen because capitalism, because they don't want public transit, the car companies. Anyway, so but anyway, we become rich and comfort, capitalism. Where was I going? Let's go back to, yeah. So freedom, personal freedom, it's a big thing, and democracy. That's good. But how did I come to this? But the anyway. So that's Raven paradox. Okay, so that's it. That's it for today. Okay, I don't have time to read all. Let's see. Yes, they are intertwined. Okay. Write computations in our macros. We write computations in our macros. Our compiler can run Jagan. Now we have a Jagan in our group, and Jagan is also in our Discord. Okay, fantastic people. Now Jagan is a Lisp expert. I respect. Okay, shall I say? So I want to highlight some of the people I know by chance. Okay, I don't want to like give a overview of all the people who is good or who is who knows who doesn't know. That's no good. Anyway, Jagan happens to know. He is a Lisp expert. Because he explained one of the thing I have about symbolic pattern matching. That is why. Okay, this touch on this the question. So I have this question since 20 years ago, since year 2000. Okay, because in my career I happen to be a Mathematica expert. In 1990s I worked for Wolfram for half a year, because I read the entire Mathematica book 3 times from cover to cover. So I'm an expert of the symbolic pattern matching of Mathematica. So then I started to learn Lisp in 1999. So it puzzled me. Lisp is, although it's kind of similar to Mathematica, but why didn't they have pattern matching? So it's trivial to do because they are almost the same language. Why Lisp doesn't do the Mathematica way? So why you have Lisp macros but not fully powerful? Why not? It's not the proper symbolic pattern matching. From my point of view, Lisp macros is simply just a trivial pattern matching system, like the most simple way. Why don't they they can trivially extend it? And meanwhile, all these Lisp fanatics, they are talking about macros all day, but when I talk about pattern matching, the full pattern matching, their brains like they don't know, but they refuse, they deny, they refuse to accept. They keep talking about this idiotic pattern matching, the Lisp macro. Fuck. Jagan, okay, now Jagan explained to me why. So I was telling Jagan about symbolic pattern matching. So why didn't this macro simply extend it? Then you have the full symbolic pattern matching. Okay, so basically the issue is that there is at least one of the issue is that when you have a symbolic pattern matching system, which means you write rules, you write rule replacements like formal grammar. Okay, you define a rule. That's how you define function. A function in pattern matching way is that you define a rule that transform a sequence of symbols into another sequence of symbols. So your program works by this kind of transformation of sequence of symbols, similar to Lisp macros. Lisp macros is like, you can think of it as a trivial transformation of a trivial pattern to another pattern. Okay, expression called expanded form. Okay, in this. Okay, that's transformation. But if you have full pattern matching system, then you have the issue of which order of rules to apply. The order of application of your transformation rules. So if you have a real full symbolic pattern matching system, you have a bunch of rules. There's a question about which one rule apply first, and it can become very complex because when you have a very powerful pattern that is at least elements inside and their type, and you want to transform in some other way, your pattern, it gets very complex. So you have a situation where many patterns match, so if you have an expression and you have a bunch of rules you defined, they all match. So you can use either one of them to transform. So the order you use will create different results. So that's a big question when you have that situation. That's a full symbolic pattern matching in Mathematica. So Lisp doesn't have that. They only have just one Lisp markup. Just apply once. You can so it's not a full pattern where you can define several patterns where they all match. Then you have a choice which one to apply. They don't have that. These idiotic these phonetic fuckheads, idiots. They just have one simple markup. But that's my opinion. So I just want to add, I don't know I haven't implemented parsers or this. If you actually implement, then if I actually implement these things, then I will know the obvious reason. I have this question for 20 years precisely because I'm kind of just like mouthing about it. I haven't really spent. You really need to spend time to implement. Then you know a lot. Then I would know my question about why the Lispers, they didn't extend Lisp into the full symbolic pattern matching. Well, part of that reason is also because social reasons. There are many social reasons. They don't need it. Okay, that's it for today. I'm getting hot and hungry, so that's it for today. Thank you guys for watching. Bye, guys. We've been talking for 1 hour and 26 minutes. That's a big one. End stream. Okay, end stream in 1 minute. Okay, so you guys can say your last words. Shiko says civil protesters are followed of French Revolution. What food do you want to eat with Skeletor's money? The Skeletor's money, I can buy a burrito. I'm going to go out there nearby. There's a burrito, but I'll pay. Well, yeah, I can get a burrito. I haven't been eating well for the past few days. I'm out of food. I'm eating. Let me show you. Okay, these mixed nuts, which is very good. Okay, and very good for you, but you don't want to eat it every day. You don't want to eat this like all day, every day, nothing else. And there's orange juice. Okay, orange juice, 100% juice concentrate. I'm tired and hungry. That's it. Shiko says Boxer Rebellion. Exactly, that's the heavenly kingdom of China. Oh wait, that's a different thing. Shiko. Boxer Rebellion is it's separate. Boxer Rebellion happened after. Taiping Rebellion. Yes, Alan said it. Taiping Rebellion. Yeah, that's the heavenly kingdom thing. Killed, tens of millions or hundreds of millions. Actually, I have an article that I have articles that let's not show it. Then that's it for today. Thank you guys. Bye.